first let me show you the data we are working with. So these are sales data. And so right here we have weekly sales in dollars. This is the data we're going to use in the tutorial. And so these sales for this week is $58,045. Which week is this? This is the first week of 2013. Which product is this? This is the SKU, stock keeping unit. That just refers to a specific good, and that good has this barcode. Now throughout, and of course there's sales for each different week. There's 50 different SKUs, and then of course 52 weeks in 2013. And throughout this tutorial, we're going to be using these data for our analysis. But when you do your project, when you turn in your assignment, you have to use whatever data is listed under your name. So if your name shows up right here, what you want to do is use these data. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want you to do is to make a new sheet. A new sheet by coming down here, clicking here, so new sheet, and then I want you to just pull out the data that you need. So you're going to need the week and the stock keeping unit. So to select all the data in those columns, we're going to click column A, hold down shift, and hit the right arrow just once, and that's going to give us the second column as well. And we're going to copy this. We can either do that by going Control C or Command C on a Mac, or here copy. And then we're going to go here to sheet 2, and we're going to paste either by Control V or of course just right click paste. And so we have our week data and our SKU data. Now we need to go and get the sales data that you'll use. Now again, if your name was listed right here, what you're going to do is select all of these data for your analysis. But for this tutorial, we're going to use these data. So I select that column, Control C for copy, come to the next sheet, and I'm going to paste. And I'm going to make this a wee bit bigger, and there we go. Now the first thing we want is to get a table like this that shows us for each SKU the total sales throughout the whole year. So like for this one SKU, we want to know the total sales in week 1 and week 2 all the way to week 52. And you know, because you got all the weeks here and all the SKUs here, the easiest way to do this is something called pivot tables. This is a tool that everybody should learn, and we're going to learn by doing. So to make a pivot table, we're going to come here, we're going to insert pivot table from table or range, and just to make sure it selected the right thing, it did an automatic select, but we're going to make sure it selects everything. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to select A1, and then I'm going to hold down shift, and using the arrow keys I'm going to go to the right so I get all my columns, and then I want to select everything underneath it as well. And so while holding down shift, I then hold down control, and then I hit the down arrow key, and it's going to scream to the end, and it's going to select everything. So it should be selecting from columns A to C, from rows 1 to 2,601, and we want to put the pivot table in a new worksheet. And so we're going to click OK, and there we go. And to build this pivot table, remember I want SKUs to be in rows in the table I want. So I'm going to take SKU over here in the fields and drag it down to rows. Now I've got all my SKUs in rows. Then I want weekly sales in dollars, and I'm going to drag this down to the values. These are the values I want. And we want the sum of all values for each SKU over all weeks, and it's already given me that. But do know, if I wanted to change it to the average weekly sales, I could just come down here and click average instead. But we do want the sum of sales over all weeks, so we can just leave it like that. And okay, it's got exactly what we want. So it's saying for SKU 226, 257, 24, the total sales for the whole year is 70,217. And these are the data we want to analyze. But whenever, once we have a pivot table and we have the data we want to analyze, we want to go ahead and paste it and paste special values in a new worksheet. Let me show you why we want to do that. So I'm going to create a new sheet here, and then I'm going to go back to my pivot table, and okay, suppose I just select the whole table, and again, to do it fast, I start here, I hold down shift, I go over one, I hold down shift and control and hit the down arrow to screen to the bottom, and then I control C for copy. And then I'm over here. Now if I just regular paste, like Control V, notice it's going to make a new pivot table over here. I don't want a pivot table, I just want the values. I'm going to do Control Z for undo, and instead I'm going to paste special. So paste special, and I want just the values. There we go. Okay, so now I have for each SKU, I have sum of weekly sales and dollars. And it says used in tutorial. That just means these are the data we used in the tutorial. I'm going to get rid of this grand total. Now what I want to do with consumer segmentation, SKU segmentation, I want to compare the total sales of each SKU to see what's the most important SKUs, what's the least important SKUs, and so on. And so I'm going to sort it from highest to lowest sales. To do this, I'm going to start here, hold down shift, move over one, hold down shift and control, hit the down arrow, and it's going to screen to the bottom. And then I'm going to right click, and I want sort. I'm going to do a custom sort to make sure it's doing it right. And I want to sort by sales. And I want to go from largest to the smallest. And there we go. Now remember, we're using ABC segmentation. So I'm going to segment each SKU into one of three categories. And remember, segment A is the important few. And you can look here, and there is, you can see this, you can easily see there's three different groups here. These SKUs generate a lot of sales. These SKUs down here, each one generates less. And then we've got a middle group. So these five right here are clearly the most important SKUs in terms of sales to the company. So I'm going to call those segment A. All of these generate relatively little sales as far per SKU. So we're going to call those segment C, the trivial many. Each SKU generates a trivial amount of sales, but there are lots of them. And then segment B is the middle share. The ones that aren't the trivial many and the ones that aren't the important few. And now I want to make a pie chart showing the total sales in segment A, B, and C. And to do that, we're going to crunch some numbers. So total sales, okay, in A. So total sales for all SKUs in segment A. I'm going to go sum of all these sales. So these are all the total sales from 2013 for all the SKUs in segment A, the important few. And then for those in B, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the sum of all those in B. And for those in C, the same thing. Sum of all those in C. Okay. And you're going to see in a bit we want to know the number of SKUs in each segment. And so I'm going to just kind of put that to the side here. So here are my Segment A SKUs, and you can see there are 5 of them. For Segment B, there are 10. And for Segment C, there are, I'm just highlighting all the C's. I'm looking down to the right here, 35 of them. There are 35. Now I want to make my pie chart, and these have the data I want, and so I'm going to select all those and then going to insert a pie chart, and I want to do a 3D pie chart because it looks cool. And now there's my pie chart, but of course if you just looked at this it wouldn't be very readable. And so what I want to do, I want each slice to show the actual values of the sales. So I'm going to come over here, I am selecting the chart, and I'm going to go chart design, add chart element. I want data labels, and let's see, yeah, I like the way that looks. And then I know I don't want it to just say A, B, and C in the legend. I want to tell people what A means and how many SKUs are in there. So I'm going to come up here. So I'm going to say Class A, the important few, 5 SKUs. And this is Class B, the middle share, and there are 10 SKUs. And here C, this is Class C, the trivial mini, and there are 35 SKUs. Okay, yeah, that looks good right there. I want a chart title that makes sense and stands on its own. And so what I'm going to say, let's say I want it to say total 2023 sales of all SKUs in each segment. And there we go. Now we're almost there. This graph, there's a lot of things I don't like about this graph. I don't like, first off, you can choose any font you want. I happen to like the Garamond font. So I'm going to make everything the Garamond font by selecting the whole chart here, go up to here, Garamond. I want the letters to really stand out, and so instead of gray font, I'm going to choose black font, and I'm going to make it bold. And now I don't like I want these to be, the values in each pie chart slice to be white so they stand out better. So I'm going to make those white, and they're supposed to be in dollar amounts, and so I want it to show dollars, and so I'm going to right click, format data labels, and I'm going to come over here, number, currency, and no decimal places. And there we go. That looks good. The final thing here, I'm going to make the font of the legend increasingly big until they're stacked up against each other. And so now I'll make it maybe 14. Yeah, there we go. Now I feel like this title needs to be a little bit bigger font to contrast the... Okay, now the final thing, to resize everything in the chart. I know I'm going to save it as a PDF in a bit, and the best way to do that is I want to move this chart. So I select the whole chart, I right click, move chart, and I want to put it in a brand new sheet. Okay, there we go. Now I can really, this is the chart as a whole. Now I can really start to resize things to make it look good. I want this title to be a little bit bigger. Okay, I like that. This definitely needs to be bigger. Let's try 14. Maybe 18. Let's try 22. Yeah, I like that. And then I want to, like before, increase the font of these so that each legend item is stacked on top of each other. Let's try 18. Yeah, there we go. Okay, at this point, look closer. There's an error in this chart. See if you can find where the error is. It's not obvious, so look closely. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if you wet your pants. I was scared you were getting bored. So now that you're not bored anymore, let's get back to the lesson. Okay, that kind of looks all right to me. Now there's this border here. I want to get rid of that border. So I'm going to select the whole chart. I'm going to go border, no line. Okay, there we go. This is the chart I want. Now remember, you're going to be using different data than I am. And so the values you have in each slice will be different for you and will be different for each student because every student has different data. So you can't just use another student's data. Now I want to save this as a PDF. There's a number of different ways you can do this. You want to save it as a PDF because that generates the highest quality chart type and is best for best importing into other things. The way I do this is I save it or print it as a PDF. So I come here, I want to print to PDF, and I want to make sure I print only active sheets, so I only print the pie chart. I'm going to go print, and then it's going to ask me where to save it. And the way I want you to save this is I want you to first put your last name. So my last name is Norwood. So I put Norwood. Underscore, then I want you to put your first name. My first name is Bailey. And then I want you to underscore, then show that the assignment is SS for spreadsheet, underscore, big S for segmentation. And save it as a PDF. And you want to make sure that it actually works because this is what you will be uploading to Canvas. So let's see, I'm going to go to sales. I was putting it here. Yeah. So this is how I was saving it, right? So I want to open it up. Yeah, okay. And so I want your chart to look as close to this as possible. I want it to look like this as far as the chart design. I want your font to be in Garamond. I want it to be black and bold in the title and in the legend, white and bold in the data labels. I want to see that currency symbol there. I want no decimal places. And the description of the legend and the title should be exactly like that. And so if you can make this chart that looks basically exactly like this, but the numbers in each slice is correct for the data that you are supposed to use, you'll get 100 on this. So it's an easy assignment.
Where are you?
Picking up Amy's dad at the airport.
Ooh, that's a strong move. Have you successfully changed everything about yourself as planned?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't recognize me. I'm wearing a sweater, I bought new shoes, I put something on my face called moisturizer. It's amazing.
Did you clean your car?
I did, but it didn't really take, so I just rented a new one. But here's the best part. I printed out a sign specially for him using his favorite font, Garamond.
Who has a favorite font?
The Santiagos do. All of them.